Oh, we're going live now? Shit. Welcome, La Geeks and Gentle Geeks, to yet another Alpha Nerds podcast. Vibrating your eardrums right now, you have Benediction, aka the voice of God. It is with great pleasure I get to introduce you to our hosts. First up, ABN, great at convincing men and women to join the military, but his skills reach far beyond that by even convincing his lovely now wife to marry him. Dean, taking death into his own hands as he comes to us all the way from the land down under. Crack him out. And lastly, but by no means least, we have our one and only Twiz. The mere fact we're able to tear him away from his comic books for 5 minutes is nothing short of a miracle. However, you can thank me for that later.
What's going on, everyone? Here we are, ANG Podcast Episode 5. As you didn't hear, I am ABN, and I am co-hosted with the ones and onlys, Benediction and Betamax. Dean, however, cannot be with us. He is out chasing kangaroos and marsupials, if I was to assume.
With his boomerang.
With his boomerang, eating shrimps on Barbies. But we do have a pretty good show here for you today. So we are late. We are all useless human beings, and we apologize, but not really.
It's all Dean's fault.
It is Dean's fault. He's going to get down.
So if y'all can at Dean Oxhill for everything you need to complain about, he will take those for next podcast episode.
I feel like he's disturbed the flow a little bit.
It has. It
has.
It's thrown.
I'm a little lost
off.
in what's going on now. I mean,
I feel like I can no
Dean,
longer answer questions about life anymore.
What is life?
Exactly. I no longer have those answers because of Dean.
thanks,
Dean,
Dean.
if you're listening, you should feel very, very disappointed in yourself right now.
Way to let the entire country of Australia down.
Wow.
Anyway, let's go.
Moving on.
Moving right
Ben,
along.
what have you been up to this week, my friend?
Mainly, we've been hitting John's stream quite a bit, Andy's stream. I've accomplished absolutely some total of 0 chicken dinners this week, and I'm quite upset about that whole thing. I'm about to start playing some Final Fantasy with my buddy again this weekend. I kind of stood him up yesterday, and he got a bit salty about that. So straight after this, I'm going to hit some Final Fantasy 14. But yeah, nothing else, brother. What about you?
Same old stuff. Last night, I think I was playing Monster Hunter World for a hot minute. I killed some monsters, raged, celebrated. So it was a roller coaster of emotion until about 4 a.m. So I enjoyed that. I'll be probably playing some more WoW and streaming it here this week. Twiz, what about you, man? What have you been up to other than being as lazy as I see you there?
Actually, I'm on the injured reserve. I'm not lazy. I'm hurt.
Oh,
I have.
Okay.
Yeah. See.
I see what you did there.
See what I did there? It's not my fault. Actually, yeah, I'm actually in my easy chair tonight because I just sitting up in my office chair is just hurt. Too much hurtins. No, it's like I was telling you guys right before it got on. Been playing a lot of Fortnite again, as of course. And what's really been funny has been playing squads, and the wife was mocking me because she can only hear my end of the conversation. Which, when you think about it, only your end of the conversation is really hilarious to other people.
Absolutely, yeah. It's it cuts out a lot of the context.
Yeah. So when I'm talking about getting nailed in the garage, she doesn't quite get what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it turns into one of those like State Farm commercials.
Right?
I could just see you on an episode of Judge Judy right now. Well, he's been talking to people online, saying it's been getting nailed in the garage and all sorts of stuff. He's going to get that death glare, and no, it's still going to go horribly wrong.
No, Your Honor, it's a game. They were shooting me. They had me pinned down. They had green ARs. I'm stuck in there with a white pistol. What am I going to do?
Sir, being attacked with weapons and sexual assault is not a joke. Like, what? Like, how did we... What?
We derailed this conversation.
Dean, and we're already off the rails on this podcast.
Absolutely. See, I blame Dean and by proxy all of Australia. Thank you, Queen's Prison Island.
Thank you, Australia.
But I mean, we got some good stuff to talk about, some interesting things.
Well, like I said, we had Intel. Intel's bringing out that new software. I don't know if you want to take the lead on that, AB.
No, go ahead, man.
Well, yeah. So I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get into the whole AMD, NVIDIA sort of fanboy base. Like I was a massive AMD fan. Recently moved over to NVIDIA, and NVIDIA have got a great software built into their GeForce, which optimizes your settings for your games. Now, Intel are planning on releasing a similar software that will adapt the performance of your games, or adapt the settings of your games to run as smoothly as they possibly can do on people that run Intel-based graphics chips.
Yeah, and just like you said, I also have an NVIDIA GeForce 780 Ti, so even with those, it still does the optimization, and it is interesting that Intel is jumping into this market. Because they're talking about it's all the way through their Skylakes and probably for their i9. So I'm not really sure how that's going to work if you already have GeForce.
I think they're going to run it a long line with the Intel's new Krabby Lake. So it's going to come out and support in the new Dell and HP are both launching laptops with the new processors on. So that software will then be available for them. And they're hoping, I think, they'll like run Battlefield 1, Battlefield 4, American Truck Simulator, along those sort of lines. So I've seen a massive uplift in what laptops can do. I'll be really interested to see. And the fact that Intel is investing the time in doing this seems to suggest that they've actually going to bring up their sort of processing power. It's just obviously when they get, if they've got the RAM or anything else to do it. I'll be interested to see what comes out of it.
Yeah, and it's also interesting that they're doing that while NVIDIA is continually to move forward with their GeForce style, with making it to where you could now stream through their servers to play any game. Paying that.
Well, yeah, exactly. I've been for my channels and stuff. I've been using, because I can't stream out here, and my upload speeds that of a. Yeah, I'm not even gonna go there. It's very slow. But yeah, I've been using the GeForce Experience to record all my highlights and everything else like that. And I know people go on about OBS and stuff, and I think when I start streaming for real, then I will probably go onto OBS. But if you just want to record your own stuff, like GeForce Experience, I think I've had a real pleasurable experience with it.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it. What do you think of this, Twiz? I mean, I know that may be good for your potato. It may optimize your potato for you.
It may be.
Super potato.
I can count a potato. I'll be honest. I when we start getting into the technical aspects of things, I get lost. I'm not that level of nerd. I can look at it and go, it looks shiny and cool. Will it fit in my laptop? I don't know. So I don't have an opinion on this one because it just on the technical side of things, I'm out of my depth here, and I'll admit that.
I think all nerds are nerds in the end of the day, man, regardless of your technical knowledge. Yeah. And I think that's the beautiful thing about Alpha Nerds. We've got such a plethora and myriad of minds and backgrounds that I know I can get started. Most stuff I can Google and try and sort of fan myself up with it, but there are guys that you can approach in nerds, and they'll just be able to rattle stuff off, like even thinking like command codes and stuff like that. So,
right?
Yeah, exactly. So, if anyone that's not really sort of understanding, or they're not too sure about what they're going to get out of this, pick a friend, come and join Alpha Nerds. If you're not already done so, post a picture, post a post, and ask questions, because there's a load of bright sparks in there that'll be able to point in the right direction.
Absolutely, yeah. There's going to be people out here that are at different levels of proficiency in certain realms. Yeah, you have your tech nerds. Nerd is just obviously a generic term that we're using to encompass a very large and diverse group of individuals, because you have a tech nerd, you have a gaming nerd, and you have a movie nerd, anime, comics, sci-fi. But of course, all those things can bleed over into each other. You could be nerd about multiple things in that realm, and then everyone can get together surrounding those small individual concepts. And, just like you said, Ed, this was what makes a group like Alpha Nerds so much fun because the community is just spread all out in all different ways, and we can just combine our intellect together like we're the Borg or something.
Yeah, exactly. I think I've noticed quite a few times that we've got quite a heavy military footprint in Alpha Nerds, and I've spoken to a couple of guys that aren't military, and they're like, "Oh, I'm not really sure I can say this," or the first line is like, "I know I'm not military." It's not about that. If you're an Alpha Nerd, you're an Alpha Nerd, and you don't even have to be police force or have gone through anything. Everyone struggles in life, no matter what it is we do. Everyone has an equal voice in Alpha Nerds, and that's what I love about it.
Exactly. Yeah, we're all.
Unless you're a pansy.
Hang on, I'm a pansy and I've ended up on a podcast, so like that.
No, Chris gets
Same, man.
Oh my goodness, this is why we can't take you anywhere.
That's why you can't take him anywhere.
Can't take him anywhere. But Ben, you got anything else you think this is gonna harken to with Intel, or you really think it's kind of just?
I think it's baby steps for now. Like, this is just guesstimating. Someone's going to be calling me up on my guesstimation right now, but I think the market share is like 8 to 12% for Intel cards. Intel do obviously an amazing job of processors. AMD do an equal job, but I prefer the stability and the plug in and play version of Intel chips for me. I really think now, especially with cryptocurrency mining and everything taking off as well, I think they'll heavily start producing some decent quality cards that will then even if they just literally go towards, if they fail at gaming, they might even just end up doing cryptocurrency mining chips or something. But I think I expect to see probably the next 3 or 4 years Intel ramping up their game big time.
Yeah, and I did see the current prototype for the Intel AMD dual chip with the essentially an integrated GPU with another processor. So, I mean, it is cool to look on the horizon and see Intel and AMD coming together to put a chip. So that is pretty cool. What really excites me is in the realms of, for the example, like the Nintendo Switch, how this could continue the console push, because the NVIDIA Tegra is a phenomenal chip. And if we can continue along those lines to where we can now, create what is extra large gaming towers currently, but have that same processing power and the size of like a handheld. I mean, that might be my age showing, but
like we said on the last podcast as well with VR, I'd expect the way, like even TVs, everything else that use different processors, I expect the processor market itself to be gearing up massively to take on VR as it moves on. You look at the progression we've had in the last 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and it's been phenomenal, the ramp up in the technological ability. So I think, what we've got coming up and what's sort of been out there that's not quite ready yet, but I think there'll be a lot of companies out there sort of gearing up for that, and we're going to see a lot of fun stuff out in the next sort of 3 or 4 years.
Yep, I do believe. Next topic we got here is if you ever picked up a Sega Genesis, you remember Shaq Fu. Well, apparently, lace up your boots, ladies and gentlemen, because we're getting a sequel to Shaq Fu.
Yes.
And apparently, it's taken about 4 years, but it's looking to come out here pretty soon, and it's gonna be called Shaq Fu: A Legend Reborn, and it will be basically across all platforms to include Nintendo Switch, PC. So
I think it's been entirely crowdfunded as well. I think so. Yeah.
Who knew that Shaq Fu was an underground hit, even though it was an atrocious game. Like, that game was so bad. I remember playing it on Sega Genesis, and I think the only reason anyone ever rented it, because those were those days, renting it, was to just laugh at the fact that I'm playing a fighting game where Shaquille O'Neal is throwing basketballs at people, and that's considered a fighting game.
Exactly. I think any like it stems from that point that any publicity is good plus. I can't even talk. Where's my tongue? Any publicity is good publicity.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get into that realm, it's like you look at Starship Troopers. I love the Starship Troopers trilogy,
Yeah.
but they are in no by means good in any way. But because they're so good at being bad,
Yeah.
they're some of my favorite movies.
Yeah. That's absolutely true. That's probably where a lot of that came from. I guess it was originally supposed to come out on last generation because they originally posted it for PS3, Wii U, and 360. But,
Yep.
Yeah.
What we're expecting it to come out on now. So you said Nintendo Switch. It's also coming out on all 4 platforms, and we've got PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC.
Yeah, it's coming out across everything. So if you own something, we'll all be able to be blessed with Shaq Fu, Legend Reborn.
See, I think I can't. There's like now I can't talk. Thanks, Ben. It's all Dean's fault.
Correct.
I think this could be. I mean, the screenshots from it looks really great. It really does. It's on par with all the current generations of like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
It's got that cartoony look to it.
Mhm.
So it looks like it could be a good-looking game at the very least.
Yeah, it's got that sort of cartoony Fortnite thing going on.
Right.
So it's kind of cool, but kind of cutie. But I think it would be really cool if they just kind of just took that whole tongue-in-cheek thing and just ran with it, and realized and played up that Starship Troopers aspect of this is cheesy, this is over the top, but it is what it is. Enjoy. Hey, by the way, here's Shaquille O'Neal, throw a basketball at dude's face. That's his finisher. Or your secret unlockable characters, Dennis Rodman. He brings the power of North Korea with him. Something,
something just
out of the world.
Yeah, or Shaquille O'Neal's finisher is actually him getting into a police uniform and then arresting you and taking you away and hand irons.
Or him trying to hit a foul shot and missing it, but it bounces off your head every time.
Yeah, just something out of this world.
Really
like I could get down with that. I just
I think the crazier the better. The more outlandish, the more ridiculous they can make it. I think they've just got to ride that wave, exactly like you said to us.
Yeah, I mean, because what people don't realize, and Chris, you're a little bit older. You're not as old as me, but when Shaq Fu came out, there was like all crazy. The fighting games were it at the time. We had like Clay Fighters.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you remember Clay Fighters. That was a huge hit.
Absolutely.
You had Balls, BALZ, which was a big fighting game. You had the Sonic fighting game, which came at the tail end of it. So crazy fighting games were the thing. So that's why Shaq Fu came about. I mean, we had Def Jam. We had the Def Jam underground fights where you could beat up Fred Durst with Method Man.
Yeah, it was out of control at one point.
Completely out of control.
You get a Donkey Kong one, where he's on that wall and he's throwing like barrels and stuff off. You could do a Trump one where he's like building a wall and he's trying to throw Mexicans off it and stuff.
Okay.
That's a complete joke. Don't berate me.
Remember,
my email's out there.
All your complaints, all your concerns go directly to Dean.
Correct.
He'll be fielding all those questions.
At Dean OX Hill.
There you go.
So make sure all of those head that way. But I mean that's a lighthearted one. Now I guess we can go ahead and move over to the crap.
Yeah, so Valve's going to cut ties, pretty much like I'm probably going to get cut ties with Alpha Nerds after that last joke. Honestly, AB, you take the lead, brother.
Yeah. Apparently, Valve finally cut ties with a publisher for planting positive reviews. Now, this particular publisher, Maltese, their CEO apparently during a meeting got called out, and kind of like a leak went in behind closed doors, that he essentially told his employees to go on to Steam purchase a copy of the game, and then make a user review. The words he used was, the publisher appears to have used multiple Steam accounts to post positive reviews for their own games.
Mm.
So anything that is involved with the Maltese publisher have been removed from Steam and obviously are no longer allowed back. Now, the reason I brought this particular one up is this is not an isolated incident per se, because there have been multiple companies not necessarily doing this with Steam, but
Amazon, that sort of.
Correct. And your Metacritics and your things like that, they're either buffing or trying to slam games for silly reasons.
But they do it in such a bad way as well. I'm a big fan of reading reviews, but if I'm going to buy something online, the only thing I don't buy online is clothes, because I find they're the most awkward fitting pieces of things to go. I have to go and pick up clothes, try them on. Exactly. But if I'm going to buy something online, I'll read the reviews. If it's only got 2 or 3 reviews, they're all 5 stars, and they're all written like really grammatically well, and they're like, yeah, 5 stars. This is absolutely amazing. Best thing I've ever bought. It doesn't say anything about the product. It's just a generic sort of. Yeah, you know what I mean? They're really easy to spot.
It looks really good on my cabinet. And you're like, but it's a video game. What?
Yeah.
Wait, here's the thing though, and because before Alpha Nerds started and before I started doing this podcast and everything, one of the things I did on a regular basis is I wrote reviews of comic books for a website, which we won't bring up, because I was also doing editorials and blah blah blah. But I ran into this thing where I had a comic that was assigned to me. I read it and I hated it. The art was terrible. The writing was just horrible. And I went to my editor and said, I feel bad because, I like this person and I know this person's going to read this review, but this review is going to be awful. I don't even want to give it 1 star. It's like, just don't write the review. Skip it, go on. So when you see a bunch of positive reviews, there could be 20 negative reviews that someone's like, I'm just not going to write that because I don't want to, and that's, as a professional reviewer, I felt, and that's one of the things I brought up that kind of got me no longer writing reviews, because I said, this is dishonest. This is a crap comic book, and I'm not warning people, don't buy this crap.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing with games, and with a lot of things.
I think with reviews especially, you've got to take a pinch of salt, because you've always got that one person as well with that particular haircut that I want to speak to the manager, and she'll just complain, or he'll just complain about, or they'll just complain, or I can't even, or Z, whatever the correct pronoun is now, I don't know.
Right. That's at
but
Dean.
They'll just complain about, it's at Dean. They'll just complain about anything for anything, or they don't quite understand what the product is, and they haven't managed to work it properly, and it isn't doing what they do, so they give it a low review. Whereas you've got to take a pinch of salt, and I think read reviews, but do your own research as well. Go watch unboxing videos, 2 or 3 or whatever it is on YouTube. Go to 3 different independent review sources. I think, especially with buying stuff online, you've really got to sort of do your research with it.
Yeah, I think the best example, or not necessarily best, but a really good example that I would use for this one would be the release of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, because there's two camps. There's the fanboy, who doesn't matter if this particular Legend of Zelda game is the absolute worst Legend of Zelda game they have ever made. They'll still give it 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5. And then there's the other side that for some reason it just hates Nintendo and the fact that everyone loves Zelda and will just give it 0 out of 10, 0 out of 5 immediately. And then you have everyone else just kind of stuck in the middle going, what is going on right now? And
exactly. It's the same thing happened to PUBG, like when they temporarily I'm not sure if that's still going on, but they banned like the Chinese region or something, and then they hit it with a load of bad reviews. Also happened to, was it Grand Theft Auto, when they Grand Theft Auto 5, when they took away some of the modding ability, and then it just got spammed with bad reviews and stuff like that. So
it's a new thing. I don't know how, but I think, games are even getting that before they even release. Like there are certain games that when they hear something, they're automatically giving it like 0s out of 5s and stuff before the game has even come out.
Yeah. And you get that. I'm sure everyone in the world, you know, when you get that new guy turn up to work or whatever it is, you hear about that friend at school or whatever, and they go, oh, yeah, that guy doesn't wash, or that guy is this, and this, or whatever. And they just, someone says something, and then it ends up like Chinese whispers, and it gets snowballed out of control. And all of a sudden, he is homeless, and he comes to school with a rucksack that he stole from. So, and especially in the online community, people don't tend to research what they're reading. So when one person will say a bad review, that automatically becomes fact in, say, 10% of people's eyes, and then they'll write a bad review, and then you just get that snowball effect, all off completely fake information.
Yep, it's true. I mean, I think that's going to go on for a little bit until they're going to have to do something about it, because it's hard to say, because you can't necessarily say one opinion is per se better than the other, right? So.
No, exactly.
So
and that's
why
what
something
the
like
beautiful
Metacritic
thing
is so good, because it's all user input, and that's what gives it the score.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I said about just getting your reviews from at least 3 different sources, because you've got to find a happy median across those 3 sources, because you're going to get extremes, one end or the other. And then in amongst them, you're going to have the general sort of review, but you always, like you said, you're going to get those fanboys, you're going to get those people that have just got a little bit of a chip on their shoulder or whatever else.
Absolutely.
But no, going back to the topic at hand, I completely agree with Valve and what they did, and it shows them they're sticking up. I've always been a big fan of Steam and Valve and what they've done, even though they haven't released Half-Life yet again. But
yep, yeah. As I said, Valve is one of those companies. Their success comes from good practice. You know, kind of like a companies like Blizzard and different ones like that. They're getting the limelight for good reasons, and they deserve it. Versus, riding the coattails of a strong intellectual property.
Exactly, and all the Steam sales they roll out and everything. I'm not going to try and brown nose Steam right now, but I've been a big fan of it. It just works, man, and I think a lot of gamers just enjoy and have a pleasurable experience in how it works.
Yep. Moving on
All praise
to
Gabe.
THQ.
THQ?
Yeah, man. If you're a fan of the old Saints Row, and we're sad that THQ Nordic was no longer around it, well, rejoice, it has returned. THQ Nordic and Deep Silver, all that stuff, Saints Row, it's all back together. They got the band together. The Brady Bunches had a reunion. Congratulations, everyone. There was a deal for about $149 million, or 121 fake currencies.
Some Bitcoin here and some data dollars there.
Something about pounds, but I keep asking them, pounds of what? I don't understand. I'm so confused. But THQ Nordic, which used to be known as Nordic Games, is now the owners of Saints Row, Homefront, Dead Island, Metro, and more.
I would, what game I'd love to see come back out of THQ would be Company of Heroes. I've still got the biggest buzz for that game ever.
Yeah, I got Company of Heroes and Companies of Heroes too.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, they're great games. They're fun.
And I'm excited about this personally because I'm just going to go ahead and say this. And remember, all your complaints go to @Dean. I actually like Saints Row better than Grand Theft Auto. I think it's a much more fun gameplay. Mm-hmm. It's it takes it's that over the top. We know we're stupid and ridiculous. But we're just gonna embrace it. Okay, in GTA you can pick up a hooker, revive your health, beat her up, and get your money back. Well, in Saints Row, you can have a team of hookers that just makes money for you. We're just gonna embrace the ridiculousness of this.
Yeah.
So,
to God, your wife isn't listening to this. That's a whole new demographic right there.
and if you are listening, dear, all your complaints go to @Dean.
Yes, @Dean OXHILL. You could.
I can hear your wife furiously typing right now. It's like, Dean.
Yep.
No, but I'm hoping I haven't gotten a chance to play Agents of Mayhem yet, and I probably am not going to. But because it just didn't appeal to me. But I am hoping this gets us a refresh or a new entry into the Saints Row universe. It's been very successful for them, so I don't see why they wouldn't revisit it.
Yeah,
I think quite an underrated game was Dead Island as well. Now, I really enjoyed Dead Island, just for
Yeah.
You know, those hangover games on a Sunday morning where you don't really have to put too much effort in, you just run around beating zombies up. I think that it was awesome. If we can see another Dead Island come out with probably a little bit more depth to it, that'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, all of those games are successful franchises, so having the band come back together, I guess, if I want to keep using that analogy, hopefully we'll see something good come out of this. It is a little bit different going on right now with these developers because it's a weird ebb and flow currently with some companies just getting, running full steam, some kind of struggling back and forth, and people are trying to acquire the ones that they feel are going to be successful. Everybody's kind of going to their perspective corners and going that route. That's why something like Anthem is a really big deal. And as long as it's done right, shakes up the industry in a good way to where it brings the competition back to where it isn't just being dragged in one particular direction. Like, not to hate Activision because, I mean, let's say between EA and Activision, obviously I like Activision better because I know they want to steal all my money, but at least they give me great content for stealing all my money.
Exactly. I've always been like back when my old console days when I was like Xbox, like the Xbox One, not the Xbox, the original Xbox, not the Xbox One, and that sort of stuff. I mean, I used to spend days with get some friends come around, we'd drink, we'd play Tiger Woods, PJ, like EA Sports, all the EA games. We had amazing fun with, and I think they've just spoiled it now. They've got too greedy. And they palm it off and like, oh, well, it costs more money to make games now. Well, no, you've got games like The Witcher 3. That was made by 3 Swedes I apologize, they're not Swedish, but Europeans in a garage, and they made probably one of my most favorite games in the last 10 years. And it's such a shame to see. I mean, a lot of gamers, like, I'm in a lucky stage in my life where I've got a decent career and I can afford to play games, but I still can't afford. I've had stuff on my wish list. I've still got stuff on my wish list that I can't afford to get yet now. But back if I was 16, 17, unless your parents are like really well off, you're going to have to bust your nuts doing whatever paper round or window washing or lawn cutting you can just to afford one game a month, and that's not being able to go out with your friends, hang out, and do anything else. I think to try and rip off your player base, I'll probably say I'm not even going to guess, but a lot of people that play games are going to be a younger age and haven't got the money to throw at it. And I think it's such a shame to just destroy a community like that by. Yeah. Anyway, I'm rambling.
I think the silver lining to that is the development for indies. That's where the silver lining is on that, because all these indie developers
shot through the roof.
Yeah, like things like Cuphead. Something like Cuphead, which 5 or 6 years ago would have never ever succeeded, is now extremely popular and super successful.
And crowdfunding has gone through the roof as well. There's so many people now that are getting on board with. Like, I can't wait for Star Citizen. I really can't wait. I've got a big. I'm careful how much I can say as far as my physical reaction to this game is, but I have got a massive buzz for this game coming out, and I know there's mixed reviews, and I know it's at early stage and it could fall flat on its face, but I'm literally on the edge of my seat, and I very rarely get like that. I can get excited about games, but this looks like something I want to get involved in. But again, it's all like being crowdfunded, everything else. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Right? It's a real joy to see the gaming community come together.
Yeah, because it's no longer that you have to go to a bank and get your money anymore. You could take it directly to the consumer now.
Exactly.
Create the demand.
And especially with the Bitcoin and everything else like that, you can even just take the banks and the corporations completely out of it and go, hey, we're going to run our own stuff right now. Bye.
Yep, and it makes everyone scramble. So that's why I say you see more of these bigger companies wanting to pick up, indie developers when they do great things and all this other stuff. That's so I got to applaud. As stickler as they may be, and sometimes I get upset with them for doing some of their stupid things, like when they region locked forever. But it's kind of like Nintendo, right? They've kept their standard the same. They're not over the top. They're not. You could tell they're not trying to rob you.
Yep. Even though they sell you cardboard, but whatever.
Right. Innovation is their thing. That's what they love the most. But
you know what's really funny about that, Ben? I was talking to my wife earlier about how we should think about maybe getting the grandson one of those things for Christmas or his birthday coming up. And she goes, "Wait, how much is it?" I said, "It's like around $79. Figure out the pounds for yourself." She goes, "For cardboard?"
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's for cardboard. What does it do? Well, you make things, and then the things become the thing that you're playing. For cardboard?
Yeah.
Exactly, man. Dude, when I was even up to like 14, we're building forts out. We get a big box, we cut holes in it. I built a fortress, man.
Absolutely.
I didn't even. Right? I get all the sofas in the kitchen. Your mum would come in, just like beat you around the back of the head because the living room's upside down. But dude, I had the best fun with cardboard when I was a kid. But it didn't cost $79.
Correct. It was normally the residual effect from Christmas or somebody bought.
Mom and Dad bought a new refrigerator.
Exactly, and then
exactly that. Yeah,
sweet tunnel that you had, or fortress, or
you used to sleep in it for a week until you got bored, and then
until the cardboard no longer held a shape. It was just kind of this weird crumbled mess. And your parents are throwing it away. You're crying. It's a significant emotional event in your life.
And then you get to like sort of 15. You get into that, and you found hammers and nails, and then you go decide to climb the weakest ass tree in the world with a pallet, and then put 3 nails in it, and then wonder why you've fallen off and smashed your head open.
Exactly.
Wow, that sounds like a really personal story, Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah, something might have happened along those lines. I may or may not have been subject to the running around the woods barefoot saying, "Hey, I'm going to make a tree house in every tree."
Yep, that was it.
That was only like 3 inches wide.
No, we had like a little like crick. We call it a crick. It's more like yeah, exactly. But it was more like a storm drain off or runoff. Our dream was we were going to make a raft and go Tom Sawyer and down the river, and we tried to build a raft and to go on this creek that was maybe 3 inches deep. We didn't realize that once you put all the wood on it,
it's going to hit the bottom.
Yeah, it's too heavy to float. So we had a river fort that became a dam.
Yeah,
that's awesome. See, I love computer games. I've played computer games for like 20 years, man. And on a rainy day, I had the beautiful experience of growing up in this tiny little village, like picturesque. We're talking like Lord of the Rings, like in the Shire type sort of stuff. Like it was picturesque. But no, I used to play games on Mega Drive and Sega Saturn and wherever else came out after that. But when we had decent days, we used to take our bikes out to the woods and stuff. And I had like a proper childhood as well. But as much as I'm an advocate for gaming, I still think you guys just need to get outside at least once a week. Just go and do stupid stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Go get scarred up. Get some scars and some bruises.
Exactly. Dude, I still do it now, and I'm 31.
I'm 46, and I still do it. Why do you think I'm sitting in an easy chair tonight? But it was worth it, damn it.
Yep, totally.
Anyway, So I'm going to get a little bit of excitement in my voice now because I get to say the best 3 words ever. Game of Thrones.
Absolutely. There is Game of Thrones news that we are throwing into the Alpha Nerds podcast. So be ready, ladies and gentlemen. However, this particular news might not find you in the best of moods.
Everyone's got like really excited and we're about to shoot them down. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm really sorry.
Remember,
Dean.
at
We
Dean.
just yeah, exactly. At Dean OXHI. Now, good old Martin, George R.R. Martin. We love to hate him, to hate to love him. This
No, but
individual-
everyone gives him stick for taking so long, and I appreciate that it's just because they love his books. But I would rather someone take time on something and deliver a quality product
absolutely.
than just rush it. EA, yeah.
Yeah,
But anyway, yeah,
it's hit with him. Like I say, it's funny because they love to hate him, but yet hate to love him. It's both of those simultaneously. So everybody wants to wait but doesn't want to wait. So it's this weird conundrum about Game of Thrones. But they're gonna have to wait. We're all gonna have to wait for this 6th book. Martin has been responding to his fans back and forth because he likes to do things on Twitter. Every once in a while, there'll be a comment that just shows up, and just for some reason he gets a wild hair, and will break the news to this one random person in a Twitter message. So the Winds of Winter.
Do you know what I love about George R.R. Martin? He's using Twitter. I've literally only just managed to like get my mum on WhatsApp. Like, it's taken 2 years.
Well, see, the scary thing for the Game of Thrones fans has got to be which comes first. The 6th book or the announcement that George R.R. Martin's dead. Because he doesn't look good. He doesn't look healthy at all.
Dude, I
mean,
look like
I'm just gonna
that
go ahead and
every
address
Saturday
that.
morning after a Friday night drinking session. The guy's fine.
Yeah. It's fine. The Lord of Light will bring him back.
Exactly, yeah. He'll come back as, this is where I'm going to piss, annoy all the fans. Who's the guy who's supposed to come back with a flaming sword? It's the big lore thing about someone's supposed to die and they're going to come back as this guy, and I can't remember the
Lord
name
of
of it
Light.
now. The Lord of Light. They had a particular name, and I can't remember, and everyone's going to be raging at me now because they're going to be screaming.
Yeah, probably. I mean, they're gonna rage at me too.
He's
so-
going to come back with a flaming fountain pen and be like, hey,
There he is.
Remember, all complaints at Dean. Well, see, here's the thing, and everyone talks about Game of Thrones, and I watch Game of Thrones like everyone else does. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I don't think it's George R.R. Martin's best work. I mean, I've been reading George R.R. Martin before most of his Game of Thrones fans were even in diapers yet. I was reading the Wild Card series way back in the day, and the Tales of the Hedge Knight, and all that stuff, and everyone comes on and like, oh, it's Game of Thrones. I'm like, please, I've been here for years. Catch up.
Exactly, and that takes it back to like when I was saying about going out and just doing stuff outside of technology. Like George R.R. Martin's only become popular through HBO, and Game of Thrones didn't even become popular until Pirates.
Yeah,
actually, it got popular because of piracy, and until a book or someone becomes famous on technology now, people don't tend to pick up books anymore. And like you said, there is so many good literature out there, that fact or fiction, that you could pick up. And I'm guilty for not reading as many books as I should do, but there is so much good stuff out there. Even someone like you get the fan base stuff, like the spin-offs. So when Stargate finished, Stargate Universe unfortunately finished off in 4 episodes, 6 episodes. I was crushed because I wanted to find out what's going on. But there's been so much fan fiction written after that. So it's out there, man. You just need to go and find it.
Yeah, and it's kind of harkens back to what kind of I think me and Ben talked about it a little bit, and I think me and Todd have also talked about it. It's this growing separation with to put a generalization on it, nerdism, if you will, across the board, becoming mainstream, and the rest of us have been a part of it for all our lives. And you have all these new people saying, trying to tell us, oh, hey, we discovered something new. No, you didn't. We've been here this whole entire time.
Do you know what a funny thing is? Like, I've been a nerd, and I've especially been in the military. I've actually tried to hide it quite a lot because you get beasted in the military by the guys. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And going back 10, 15 years, being a nerd was like, it's a hard time, man. You were the social outcast.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's become more mainstream. You get all these like hyphenated popular people that are just like the trendsetters that people just tend to follow because they're sheep. Now it's becoming more mainstream. They're like, oh yeah, I'm a nerd. I'm like, maybe welcome to the group, but come and join us.
Yeah, and they're not really nerds because, like, for example, Twiz can definitely attest to that part of it when you have like a comic book movie or you have a television series that's based on a comic book character come out and everybody says, oh man, I just discovered this sweet character. What? Like Black Panther?
Look at Ghost in the Shell. Like, I took my boys to watch Ghost in the Shell, and they loved it.
Peter Parker's true love is Mary Jane Watson. No, it's Gwen Stefani. Gwen
Stefani.
Stacy. Yeah, that's what I started to say. It's Gwen Stacy. Get it right.
Yeah.
But like Ghost in the Shell. I love anime, and Ghost in the Shell was one of my favorite animes from like 10, 15 years ago, probably longer.
Yep.
And nobody even knew about it. And they were on about, oh, do I go see Ghost in the Shell? I was like, yeah, damn right. And I explained to them, like, this was based on an anime, right? And they're like, shut up. Like, it's like a geeky thing. Like, no, I will show you the anime, and it's actually better. But
it's Pacific Rim. Pacific Rim is pretty much created by a bunch of geeks who love mech anime. And they have been interviewed multiple times saying that. They loved Robotech, they loved Gundam, all that stuff, and it created Pacific Rim.
What's funny is Ben was just talking about it, and I've heard you talk about it before, Chris, about how you caught so much grief over being a nerd while on active duty. I tell you what, when I was in the Corps, I never had that issue. I mean, and I wore my nerdiness on the sleeve, and perhaps it's because at the time, I wasn't chunky and old, and I could hold my own, and so if anyone gave me grief, Snuggly, yeah. If anyone gave me grief, I was more than willing to give them a little tap on the nose. But when I would get my monthly box in from the States, when I was over in Okie, I get my monthly box in stacked full of comics. Everyone was over in my area saying, hey, Carl, can I check it out? And everyone else was reading along with me. And so my comics became everyone's comic.
Exactly that just hits the nail on the head of the point I wanted to make to every single nerd that listens to this right now. Your confidence and your enthusiasm into what you enjoyed carried it through. And I think that people struggle. Most nerds, we've had a bit of a rough time or whatever else, or we found solace in something that's kept us not on our own. I think the gaming community now, the online, has brought people a lot more together with the social aspect. But especially nerds back in the day before this online stuff, it was quite unless you had like a friend came around, you'd have like 3 or 4 friends, you were playing split screen like GoldenEye and that sort of stuff. The social aspect wasn't as prevalent as it is now. I would just say to anyone that is a nerd and they're a little bit scared about talking out about it or admitting what you do, anything you do in life, no matter whether it's, as long as it doesn't hurt anyone, as long as you're not stealing from anyone or judging anyone or doing things. But if you genuinely enjoy something, always have confidence in it, because people do not follow success, they follow confidence. And just like Twiz said, as long as you can be confident, and people will take the mickey out of you. People will go, oh, that's stupid. But that's because they don't understand it. You say, okay, well, fair enough. And just smile at them. Have you even looked at it? No. Okay, fine. And then just ignore that comment. And I promise you now, you're more confident in something, people will genuinely, and you'll find the right people to be around with as well.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm going to translate a little bit there for our American listeners. Take the mickey out means they're going to tease you.
Yes.
It's also known as taking the piss, taking the mick. Just so we're clear.
Yeah,
feasting, hazing.
Yeah, that's how it was for me. It was like that for all time. And I know a buddy of mine, his name is also Todd. He used to give me crap. He still does to this day. He pretends to give me crap for being a nerd, and I know he likes to listen to this podcast. So, you know you're a nerd. That's why you're listening to this podcast. But
Nerd.
nerd. But and
Shut
you're
the
absolutely
weed.
right, Ben, because that's how it is. You know, even me being, you know, a senior NCO, and when people see me and they see the things that I'm into, and it blows
Yep.
them away. They don't understand it, how they can wrap their head around it.
Yeah, exactly. I've been more open with my nerdiness now. I built myself I've wanted a decent tower for ages, and I built myself a tower out here. Now, the guys on the block, we've got a very much open door. We're like a family, so my door's never locked. I'm surprised no one's even walked in this morning because I'll just burst in, and it's really difficult when you're sat there in a awkward position, shall we say. Most of you will get that. But then they'll stand there and they go, "Oh, you're busy," and I'm like, "Yeah." Are you coming drinking? And I'm like, "Can you give me 5 minutes?" And they're like, "No." And I said, "Well, okay, fine. I guess I'm coming drinking then." But they'll usually come in. I've been playing like Final Fantasy or like something ultra nerdy, right?
Yeah.
And so you get these guys come in and like they're used to me being military Ben, and then they come in and they see me cross-legged on a chair, like shooting, like killing some dragons or doing whatever, playing Witcher 3, whatever else. Even one of the guys, Woody's, he's airborne now. He's now got a PlayStation. He's playing Witcher 3 right through. So since I've sort of opened up about this whole sort of nerdy thing, I've had warrant officers come into my door saying, "Hey man, you're really good at videos. Can you make an intro video for our jungle warfare course?" Like it's actually become part of my life, and people don't see me any different. Yeah, I'm a nerd, but I'm proud about it, and no one gives me any stick for it. And I think that's the biggest thing I want to get to, especially our younger members of Alpha Nerds. Do what you do best. Do what you do best, and be proud of it.
Yeah, nerd. We're taking that word back. It's our word, because we are the nerds. It's not derogatory. We can completely remove its derogatory connotation, and we own it. So that's why in today's world, when you say, you know, I'm nerding out about something, you can nerd out about anything. It's not limited to anything.
I geekgasm at least twice a day.
Correct.
Oh
Yeah, but that's the beauty of it. That we're moving into this direction, like how I can say, "Oh, I can't wait for Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet to come out," or this anime series, or this comic book movie, or this video game, or anything in that genre that you could just come up with and just enjoy the hell out of it.
Yeah, exactly. I see. I'm going back to school, and you'll be like, right, okay, and you'll have, or probably an iPad now, but you'll find your place of solace. You'll go to like a lone tree in the campus or school or wherever it is, or you'll find a corner in the library at work or whatever else, and you'll sit on your own because you don't want to see people watching your anime or watching a geeky series or playing a game. Mm-hmm. Just sit with everyone else and watch it, because people are going to come over to you and go, "What is that?" And then instead of you going, "Oh, it's nothing," and trying to hide it, go, "Oh, well, this is what's really cool about it. This is what I appreciate some animes out there that actually even still freaks me out. But yeah, no, just be proud of you, man. And honestly, the next thing I want to say is Discord is here for the Alpha Nerds. So if you're listening to this podcast and you're thinking, "Oh, right, well, I'm not quite part of the Alpha Nerds," you are all equal. Every single one. I joined. I was part of Alpha Nerds before it came to charity, and it's been a pleasure ever since. And then somehow I've been brought into this podcast, which is it's such an honor for me. But any of you, please come on Discord, and if you've got trouble like interacting with people, take baby steps. Come onto Discord first. Chat with us. Mm-hmm. And just learn to be confident in yourself. So that's the biggest thing for you. And then we can all geek out when Game of Thrones comes out in 2022 or whatever it's going to do.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I can't really say it much better than that. We're all here. If you see any one of us, if you see some of us streaming, or if you see one of us on Discord, if you see anything related to what your nerdiness is, come talk to that person about it, because that just gives a better conversation, and you may discover new things.
And people put posts on the Alpha Nerds Facebook group. That's great, But sometimes people will just scroll over that stuff, and not because they're ignoring it. It's just because other stuff will come up that's got more prevalent, maybe like John's stream or someone else, and something big will happen, and it will just get lost in that tidal wave of information that goes there. However, if you just get on Discord, you just join a channel, you see a group of people and they're chatting away and they're playing a game. I've been playing 4-man games, that's a 4-man team on PUBG, but there'll be 8 or 9 of us in the channel all shooting shit.
Yeah.
And there is no problem with you just coming in and going, oh, hey, and then introduce yourself to people. Just get amongst it. And this is all part of a family here. And no matter what background you're from, military, civilian, outer space, I don't care where you're from, come in, join, you're all equal.
Unless you're Australian.
Yeah, no, Dean's in timeout right now.
Yeah, at Dean OXHILL.
Please,
I would like the Discord
spam his inbox
from this point on to at Dean OXHILL for any and every complaint known to humankind at this time, because it's not mankind. But
for all our American listeners, I'm pretty sure I heard Dean said the U.S. should ban all guns like Australia has.
Yeah, I think Dean was, no, he definitely said that guns are bad.
He also said he didn't like PUBG.
Yeah.
So take all your frustration out there.
He also said he had better biceps than John Burke.
Correct. So you can also at him for that.
He also mentioned that RPGs, the games, role-playing games, are for girls.
And then he also said girls don't play video games. So at Dean, DEANOXHILL. He is in Discord, so feel free. He is currently awake at this time, so you could probably go ahead and start hitting him up now.
Yeah, he's in the same sort of time zone. I think he's 2 hours ahead or behind me, so he's either at 4 in the afternoon or 11 in the morning. Feel free to light his inbox up. And on a serious note, if you want to link, if you're interested and you piqued your interest in the Intel, if you go to www.theverge.com, on there is the Intel graphics driver game optimization article, and you can find also a link to download the driver. And I hope if you do that and you want to give us some feedback personally, please feel free to let us know, and we can maybe even talk about it on the next show.
Absolutely. I think we finished out this show pretty good.
I think so.
I'm pretty spent right now.
Yeah, I think
ready to take a nap.
Yeah, we just left it all out in the field, I guess. Well, as always, you can find me at ABNMP269 on every and any kind of social media / whatevers. You can find Twiz where?
At Betamax_13 on the Twitter box. I'm all over Facebook, usually in my chair with the dog on my lap. He joined me here at the tail end.
And Ben, how can we get a hold of you other than on the knee during prayer?
Well, benediction is not to be confused with the biblical BNE, B-E-N-E. It's B-E-N-A diction. But I'm on Twitch. I'm on Steam. I'm on Facebook. I'm on I don't do Twitter because it just annoys me. I struggle with at least 3 things already, so I can't take any more on. But yeah, find me through AB, find me through Twiz, find me through Alpha Nerds. I am more happy to play games with you, talk to you, nerd out with you.
That's awesome, Louie.
And drink tea.
Drink tea with crumpets. Abe, that's what I'm talking about. Well, as always, you have been listening to the Alpha Nerds podcast. If you have anything, you had any questions, comments, concerns, bitches, right, complaints, at Dean OXHIL. No, but for real, you can hit us up on the Discord or anywhere else. If you want something added to the show, please let us know, because we always want new ideas. But until next time at approximately Wednesday, time to be determined, depending on when everybody gets together, we will be back talking about silliness and other things. But until then, this has been the Alpha Nerds Guild podcast.
Take care.